Hey guys, this is Russ and Gabby, and today we're talking about when it feels like you're getting love bombed by life, when it feels like everything is happening to you all at once. And today we're going to talk about both sides of it because I think sometimes when we say everything happening all at once, it feels like all the bad stuff. It's like, okay, I lost my job and then my car breaks down and I find out, my partner's cheating and then I get sick and like, yes, that is a thing. But like it's also thing if sometimes, like, you be hitting a dry season, and all of a sudden you start hitting your wins, and at first it's good. It's like, "Yes, I got the job. I got the big ooh, I got approved for this loan. Imma get the house. Imma get the da da da." And then it can get to a point, though, sometimes it feels overwhelming, and then you're feeling ungrateful because you're like, "No, I've been praying for these things, but goddamn, I have not rested in 6 months." Or goddamn, like, this is a lot, and it's great, but, like, baby girl need a break. So today we're talking about that. What happens when you finally get to heat that peak point and it's just a little overwhelming? Now, Gabby, have you had a peak season like this?
I just came out of a peak season.
I know. I already know.
Sorry, yeah, I'm a little under the weather. Pardon me, not COVID.
Mhm.
Anyways, I just came out of a peak season. I really went through a difficult time trying to figure out what I wanted to do. My background is in social work. I do have 2 degrees in social work, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do with social work. I'm not a therapist, not my thing. Found out interest in being a research social worker. And then somehow it worked out, stayed for a year, whatever. And then I ended up quitting that job. And I was just trying to really find my footing. And if many of you don't know, I live in Texas. I really couldn't figure out my footing here. So it took me a minute to figure out what I wanted to do. And I'm applying for jobs. I've never been one of them people who had issues getting jobs, but
Mhm.
I was not getting no callbacks. I was
Mhm.
like, "Dang," like, yeah, they was not messing with the kid. Either the salary was I wanted too much, the salary was too low, or it was just I'm overqualified, or just I'm underqualified. Like I started applying for all types of jobs. And my most humbling moment was being a delivery for Amazon. So flight attendant fell in my lap. I never thought I would be a flight attendant, never wanted to be a flight attendant. But to be honest, it's one of the best career choices I ever could have made for myself. And I started at a low cost carrier at first. I'm not going to say you guys who I work for, but I started a low cost carrier first.
I have a one-sided beef with this company. That's a hint. I have a one-sided beef with this airlines. But
Stayed with them for 6 months. And then I had a family, I have a family member who was like, if you're going to be a flight attendant, you need to get on with, one of the big threes. There's a hint.
Mhm.
So I got my CJO, went ahead and went to flight attendant school training again. And I've been with this company going on almost a year and a half. So that's that. And I'm just now getting back on my feet. And when I say that, as far as like living on my own, like
Mhm.
furnishing my apartment, things that so it can happen at any age. It was really a humbling experience for me because I've never really went through that in my life.
Mhm.
So it was dealt with a lot of emotions. I was very, very emotional. And this is another part I would say. This is where you really do have to have a really good support system,
Mhm.
really good friends. Because when my car broke down, my friends pitched in and helped me fix my car type issues. I seriously did not have it. Like, and I'm very, very, very grateful for my support system because without them, I would have just been it just would have sucked.
Yeah, but you know what? I think your story is like a good example because you had like period of like it was like thing after thing after thing. It was like, okay,
It
I'm tired
was.
of where I am. And you let me know if I'm saying too much and I'll cut whatever out.
No,
But you
you're
had
good.
to like, I'm tired of where I am. I need to move. You got up and moved states. You found a job that was, different than what you have done. And like from day one had a horrible experience from like your apartment that you ended up getting was like a horrible experience. Some of the people that you met was like a horrible
It was.
experience.
It was rough.
Yeah, and then you had to leave that job, and then you had to go to another job where it felt like, "Okay, I'm getting my footing." Then they was doing sneaky stuff, and then we're having,
Mhm.
certain stuff happen in our love. Like we're having, like you went through a period of like boom, 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 where it's like, "Oh my god," and then immediately went into a period. It's like, "Okay, good job, job that you love, that you have fun doing. Okay." townhome. Okay, we're gonna, we are
Yes.
gonna love life. Boom, boom. And so you had like, and I wanted to point that out too, because sometimes I feel like, especially if you're somebody, uh, hello me, set or turn kick my ass, like it kick my ass, Lord. But like sometimes you go through a period where it was like really hard, and it feels like, will anything ever be right again? And I wanted to pinpoint, like, right after that period is when you had your like, oh my gosh, it's getting so good that it's overwhelming
Yes,
period.
very much
And
so.
so push
Still
through.
overwhelmed.
There's
Uh,
other periods after this.
there is. Right now I'm in the period of figuring out what I like and trying to furnish my own apartment because I don't know what I like. I ain't got no style. I don't know. I just bought a couch. Went and dropped the money on the couch. And I was like, I think this is the one. I tested it out, laid on it. It was cracking up at me. I didn't put my feet up, laid on it, laid out. I done did everything trying to figure out the one. Like, I'm so extra like that. I was like, do you have it a different color? Seen different colors and still went with the one that I
Right.
didn't see. Great work. Like, so I'm in a really interesting phase right now. And, don't let the age fool you. Like, you still try to figure your life out in your 30s. Like, if anything, it's a little more serious because I'm not in my 20s. 30s is just a little more critical. Like, okay, I got it together.
And look, we were talking about this earlier today of like, it's never too late for life to change for you
At
completely.
all.
I was such a serious child, and I am the goofiest adult. I am like, I was a serious. When I tell you, like, if you told 10-year-old me of like one confidence, if anything, too much. We don't know where you got it. We don't know where you got it. You're very, very vocal. You're very vocal. You do not care too much about hurting people's feelings that much if it means you have to set up your boundaries. You are very much the person people go to be like, hey, we need somebody to we need somebody to talk somebody to talk some sense. Talk to me. I mean, that 10-year-old me was gonna be like, I just want to sit in a corner and nobody talk to me. And I want everything to be fine. I don't want, if nothing happens at all for the next 8 hours, that's fine. Because that would make my anxiety a lot lower and that'd be great. And now I just be doing shit that would terrify 10-year-old me because it's a Tuesday and I'm bored. So life can change for you at any
Definitely can.
minute,
And it's
which means that life can always get better and greater.
very
But like
true.
you, I definitely had a period where uh, mine wasn't so like back to back, but I definitely had a period where it just felt like I knew I no longer resonated with the old version of me. And
Mhm.
so I was just like, okay, so I'm going to try stuff. I don't know what the new version of me is, but I'm going to try stuff. And it was kind of like yours, where it was like, okay, so now, here's the townhouse, here's the new job. Here's the new job. Here's a job in a whole new lane. Here's the
Mhm.
friendships. Here's the dating. Here's the like, and it just felt like everything was like boom, 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 boom. And
Mhm.
again, the first couple months of that is like really, really fun. But it also got to a point where it was just like, one, you get that feeling of like, how long is this gonna last?
That
Because
part.
this doesn't. There's too many good stuff happening right now. I don't trust it. But then also, sometimes I think you can feel unprepared for sometimes, you're asking for all these good things and you're not really wondering, like, am I prepared for all these good things? And that's not to say like, oh, if you're not prepared, you shouldn't get it. It's just that you're going to have a little harder time finding your footing. And you got to
Mhm.
be gentle on yourself about that. Because I think, again, when people are like, you got all this good going on, why aren't you being grateful? You don't understand, like, for some people, it's a lot of things. But for some people, especially when you've had such a hard time as of late, simply getting a good
Don't
thing
lose
isn't
it.
enough to change the mindset around the things you gotta do just to survive.
Right. Mhm.
And it can be hard on, like, trying to figure how to recalibrate to be able to handle and accept all the good things. So, with that being said, let's go into a little bit more about, like, what this feels like. So, like, let's start off first with, like, love bombing in regards to love, because I feel like if we can start off there, you'll know what we're talking about when we're using the term love bombing, right? So for me, the way I look at love bombing is that like you are trying to give me feelings and step up to levels that neither one of us have earned out the gate. And it feels overwhelming. And it feels like I can't breathe because you're trying so hard to push this agenda. That's how I think about love bombing. That's how love bombing has been done to me. And I'll give you an example. This is just kind of that like it's week two, and you're like, why aren't we together? Why aren't we official? Why don't we have pictures on our Instagram? Why aren't you telling the world that I'm yours? I'm like, sir, what's my favorite color? What's my middle name? We should not be in a relationship if you do not know my middle name. Even I'm thinking of this same person, um, like for a while, actually, did that, push that, like, why aren't we together? You know, I'm in love with you, blah, blah. And I'm like, hey, we have not had any conversations that should have made you fall in love with me. So it feels like lust. I don't feel like you're giving me all this energy that I'm just like, I'm not doing anything to cause this. When I'm thinking about love bombing, I'm thinking trying to rush into things. They're trying to like overcompensate for things. Even that, like, okay, well, let me spend on you. I'm gonna get you this. I'm gonna buy you this. I'm gonna blah, blah, blah. You hungry? I'm gonna come over. I'm gonna bring the food, I'm gonna bring the wine, and it just can feels like very overwhelming. So for me, when I think of love bombing, it is again like trying to move us to a stage that we have not worked our way up to, and trying to convince me to go from 0 to 100 and leave all logic behind. So what are you thinking about when you think of love bombing?
I mean, I think I'm the love bomber.
I mean, probably Abby. I mean, yeah, yeah. That makes sense. That checks out. That checks out. Soon as you said it, I didn't even have to double think. I was like, you know what? Yeah, no, no. Y'all Leos. Y'all Leo energy.
I think I'm the love bomber. I mean, everything that you said, that's me. Like I'm like I could not say anything because I'm sitting here like
Look, y'all not gonna get this because I'm not releasing video. I'm here with like pimple patches all over my face. Like we bonnets on,
I look
no
a mess.
bra on, like right, right. Stuff going on.
For real.
But I'm saying that to say, because the whole time I was spraying love bombing, I kept looking over the corner of my eye at you, and I was like, why is she making those faces? And I thought you were like making those faces to be like, that's not love bombing. I don't know. I'm gonna sit here and love bombing. You don't think about oh shit, she's talking about me.
No, I'm thinking, I'm like, damn, that's me. She said me. Like, I think I'm the love bomber. If you know me, you know that's probably true. I am a hopeless romantic low key. I would love bomb your ass in a heartbeat because I don't understand why we're not together. I don't get it. Like, explain it to me again. Like, help me, because I'm trying to figure it out.
Look,
But you know, that's just me.
I love you so much. I can't even say I'm a love bomber. I'm not.
To know me is to love me. Is all I can say.
Girl.
I don't have nothing to say on Love Bomb because
All right. Well,
I just feel scrappy. I mean, y'all got it.
yeah. So at any point in time, you find Gabby's Instagram, and she's like, "Yeah, girl, you should do it." That means you are in the wrong, and that you are love bombing that individual. You should leave that individual alone to go heal. Stop being a blockage in their path to wellness.
No, because that definitely I was sitting here like, huh,
Oh.
I think that's me.
Well, okay, so that's what we're talking about when we're saying it in love. But so
Yes.
then let's switch it to okay, so how does that look when we're just talking about in life in general? I think it's kind of like me, you were talking about that can be that all of a sudden all my manifestations are happening and they're coming true at once. That
Right.
can be that, and even going back to that feeling, I feel like again when I had like when I was in that period where it felt like I was being loved bound by life, it I felt like I didn't deserve it. And I want to break it down. It's not that I didn't think I deserved the things I was getting, is that the way they were coming and the way they were happening and at the range that they were happening and how fast they were happening made me feel like I didn't deserve it in that way. And that was really something that was kind of hard for me to hold on to because I felt like, dang, there was other parts of my life where I was really hustling for this thing. I was really giving it my all. I've been giving it a good 46%. Like now is when it comes through. Now, like I really have not been paying this thing attention. I really have not been on my grind, really have not been on my shit. And now I'm getting this thing after that thing. I'm getting approved for this, and I'm getting ready for that, and I'm getting blah 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 blah. So like it feels like emotional whiplash, like going from
Mhm.
nothing is happening at all. And I'm doing everything I can to like now I don't feel like I can breathe because so much is happening.
Mm. Yeah. On the life tip, that's I definitely agree. It's just interesting because I'm it's not that I'm quiet. A lot of things that Rest is saying is really, really true. And it's just resonating with my life. Like, it's interesting going from working your whole life and just knowing that you have it together, knowing that you're that girl and getting everything you want to coming in your 30s and then boom, it just getting ripped away from you. So when you work hard to get it all over again and you finally get to where you're at, you are overwhelmed because you're trying to make sure you don't get to that you don't ever go back to that space that you once was. And I think that's why I get quiet sometimes because I think I have a sense of gratitude when it comes to just where I'm at now. Because if we had this conversation probably about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, maybe two, I don't know. I it's crazy how my mind has blocked out a lot of those things that's happened. And I made a promise. So it's like I would never allow myself to get that space again. It's a space that I don't ever want anybody to get into. Losing a job, a part of yourself, that's the loss. So you grieve.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. It's just very interesting. So when I sit here today, I really do have a sense of gratitude of where I'm at now, how hard I've worked to get there. Because sometimes my friends tell me I don't give myself enough grace, and maybe I don't, but
Mhm.
because I'm very hard on myself because I have high expectations for me. So it's just very interesting that everything that she's saying it's just true. So it's gratitude. Just had to share. That's it. So
Yeah, no. I think having that gratitude can help you stay a little bit grounded because I think that's what starts to make it feel like love by me. That's what makes it start to
mhm.
feel like because you're like, I don't deserve this.
Yeah, I agree.
And I do want to break it down for you guys. We're using the term love bombing because it can feel like that's what it feels like. We're not saying
Yes,
that's what it is.
exactly.
But it's kinda like Gabby said, like when so much good stuff, you can get overwhelmed. It's like, okay, wait, I need to not be hard on myself. I don't deserve this. I can just give gratitude. It's like, okay, but it's here.
That's
I'm
it.
thankful.
Mhm.
The universe decided to give it to me whether I deserved it or not. And so I'm thankful for it. And it's a good thing.
It's a very good thing.
So
Mm.
some of those common signs of like what this kind of period in your life can feel like, it almost feels like there's too many opportunities at once. It can feel like multiple relationships are shifting, whether that's romantic or friendships, all together. And like suddenly it just seems like everything in life is changing. And while it can feel like you're on a high, right? Because this can be job changing, health changing, location changing, finances changing, love changing. Even while we're feeling that adrenaline, it can also have like a feeling of like, oh, I'm low key secretly drowning because this is a lot.
Oof.
This is a lot.
Mm.
So let's talk about why you can still have that feeling of like, you can sometimes just have this moment of all these good things happening in general.
So spiritual perspective, universe clearing old energy, delivering pent up momentum. It's interesting because I am a very faithful person. So it's just interesting because, in my faith, because I'm Baptist, they always tell you to sit still and kind of let the moment come to you, let God
Mhm.
speak to you, all that. But then they also tell you that you got to work for it. So I always struggle with that because it's like, well, haven't I been working my whole life? That's not enough. Like
Mhm.
I got to do more.
Mhm.
And I think about that because you only can sit still for so long before you get off your butt and do something about it.
Yeah.
So, how long are you supposed to sit? How long are you supposed to sit and wait? Because the longer you sit, the more you sit there and question, why is this happening? Why am I going through this? And that's always the main question. But you never really think about sometimes the solution or how you're going to fix it. Because that's always, and it's almost like the 5 stages of grief.
Yeah.
You got to go to one and two. You might end up back at one, but you get there eventually. Okay, let me get up and let me fix this. I do think that they go hand in hand. If you are a very spiritual person, they go hand in hand. You still have to have faith that everything's gonna work out. And I sometimes think faith sometimes gets you through the hard part.
Yeah.
And faith gets you to the hard part, knowing that it's gonna work out. But I understand what it means that you have to do the work. So for
Yeah.
me, I got up, I showered, I brushed my teeth. That's just the basic things for me because I wasn't in the mood to do anything else. Apply for jobs, look for ads, do my part to try to make sure that I'm gonna eat.
Mhm.
Even when I speak about working at Amazon, y'all really think I wanted to go drive in a truck and deliver boxes every day? No, No, I'm not built for physical labor. And I really stopped saying things like, oh, I would never do that. Why? Because everything I said I would never do actually happened. That's for another day on another podcast. But
Mhm.
everything like, so I have stopped saying that because I always say I'll never do physical labor. Oh, Amazon was about as physical as it gets.
No, yeah.
So yeah, yeah.
No, so I like that because even going back to like, because with the whole faith thing, it's that whole like, it's kind of like when you heard the different parables about like, if you sow the seeds during the growth season,
Hmm.
then when harvest time comes, you got to wait for harvest. So when harvest time comes, you will have something to harvest because you did the work, you sowed the seeds.
Right.
After you sow the seeds, that's the waiting part. And after you get that wait, that's when you get the harvest. And I think a lot of times we want to sow the seed, we want to shovel the dirt, put in the seed, drop some water on it, and we want to wake up the next morning with that thing fully grown.
Hmm. Mm.
And sometimes it just doesn't happen that way. I'm even thinking about like on an astrological level.
Hmm.
For example, I am a Capricorn rising, which essentially Saturn is our chart ruler. Saturn is like known as Daddy Saturn, and he likes spanking the fuck out of his kids. Like he's spanking them to greatness, but like he likes spanking. He believes in getting the switch, right? And so that's life as a Capricorn rising, right? It is a lot of like yeah, and y'all have heard me say this on a podcast multiple times where I've said like I get bullied by the universe into greatness. Like it's never me wanting to do these things. Whenever people give me props about something or like, oh my gosh, and you, I'd be like, oh no, the universe bullied me into that. Like it was that or die. Like that was the options I was getting. I definitely have lots of experiences in my life where yes, I ended up in really good right paths. And I'm like, oh dang, that's magical. That like that's how it worked out. But in reality, a lot of times it was me kicking and screaming and me trying to go other ways. And every time I opened the door, it's like when you open, in cartoons, when you run to the front door, you open the door and it's like there's that the monster. So then you run to the back door, but somehow the monster's at the back door too. Like that's life as a Capricorn rising, or lots of Capricorn placements. That's what's happening to us. We just at some point you gotta be like, all right, I guess this is the monster I'm gonna go with. And you just go with that monster, you figure it out, right? So the reason I'm saying this is like because I am
Oh
a
my
Capricorn
goodness.
rising. One of the like things with Capricorn risings is like they always say it's life for you is pretty much gonna be hard work, hard work, hard work, and you really don't get the rewards till after 30. And for some of us, that's 40, that's 50, that's 60, but it's very much like that is what's known for a lot of Capricorn risings. Like you are going to work so fucking hard. And it's gonna feel like, oh my gosh, I've been doing this shit forever, especially Capricorns right now. Lord knows Pluto was in Capricorn for the fucking longest time. It was ruining all of our lives. I'm so glad that it's out. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that it's out.
I look
Oh,
at my
it's been
stuff,
since like
man.
2008 to like earlier this year. Shit's been horrible. But I say all that to say, like, one of the things that's like, no, is for with Capricorn risings. It's like, yes, but you get the reward later and you get all that you sold, it's returned to you. So it's like, yes, it can feel like you have this, like, dang, it's hard. Everything is hard, difficult, difficult. Like, I don't understand why things are so hard for me. But it's always like this little promise at the end of like, if you just do the work, going back to what you're talking about spiritually, if you just do the
Hmm.
work, there is a reward for you. I just need to know that you can do the work.
Yeah, so you can do it.
Yeah. But I think again, what can happen though is that when you get the rewards again, it kind of has that love bombing feel because it's like, nah, because I've been doing this shit for 10 years. But what you mean? Now you're gonna give me money to fund my project. Okay. Okay, I gotta sell my
Right.
soul. I gotta talk to Illuminati. What you mean? What's going
That
on
part
here?
of it.
Yeah. It can feel suspicious. It can make you feel like, oh, should I trust this? This feels too good to be true. And again, I go back to say that kind of like Gabby said, it's like sometimes you have to be able to trust that you just weren't in the season before. And now I am in that season and be willing to accept, like, okay, I am in that season. But while we're
Mm.
talking about being in that seasons, again, I don't know y'all personal life, so you know your special circumstances. This might be for everybody. But I think for most of us, it's okay to say yes to things, but also okay to say no because you have limits. And what I mean by that is definitely physically, me and Gabby, before we got on here, we were both just talking about this. Both of us have a bad habit of like going overboard with work. like doing a lot and then crashing out.
Yes, because I crashed out in July, just so y'all know. Worked hard in June, crashed out.
All last year, like I had an issue with like just like because I was doing sometimes like 70 hours in a week. And like I would do that for like 2 or 3 months. And then for like a month, I would be sick and I would have to cancel appointments left and right. And I could not figure out why. And it finally got to a point, me and Gabby talked about this right before we record, because her ass is doing that shit now. But we got to that point. But I was telling her, like, it got to the point that my doctor finally had to tell me, you are putting your body, you're forcing your body into like, you're constantly in a state of fight or flight because you are always doing. Like the minute that you stop, you can't just enjoy rest. You have to crash. So then you prolong your stopping, which then makes it worse. So then your body just decides, okay, I don't care if you want to stop. We're stopping. See what you can do without us. And like I was literally like, I have never been a sickly child. I've never been a sickly adult. But like
Same.
last year, I had really fucked up my back. Like we're like literally could not walk. Like literally had to cut off multiple days because I could not even sit upright. Folded over in pain, like to the point I was like, oh fuck, they're gonna tell me that I have to get surgery. Luckily, I ended up being okay. And when I was like talking to a doctor about it later, and they were just like, oh yeah, that was probably like stress. That was probably a spasm caused on by stress. Cause I was telling her like, it wasn't like I tried some new gym routine. It wasn't like I jumped and landed weird. Like literally one day I was just walking and then buckled. I was like, what the fuck is that? And then it just got worse and worse and worse. So saying that to say, even when you're in your go season,
It's
it's
very
okay to
true.
recognize that you can't say yes to everything. Prioritize the things that are more in line with what you want for yourself and out of life, but also allow yourself to, while saying yes, also remember that sometimes you have to say no.
That is so true. I'm a workaholic and picking up flights. I think as a flight attendant now, so used to just being like, okay, I'll pick it up, I'll work it. June, I worked 135 damn hours. I don't know what inspired me. I don't know why I felt so motivated, but when July came around, I was tired.
Mhm.
Tired. Couldn't do it. Probably why my ass got sinus infection now because I'm symptomatic. When I don't get the rest I need, when I don't take care of myself, I break down and I get sick.
Yeah.
It's been proven. So
Mhm.
now here I am having to fly with
Yeah.
a sinus infection, and that sucks because you can't pop your ears the way you want to.
Yeah.
So, note to
And
self.
that, well, and it's funny you say that because even as we were talking about it earlier, I did not tie the two in, but I think this was before me and you met, but I'm pretty sure I've talked to you about this before. But there was a time when I was in undergrad that my senior year, got so sick to the point that like I was going to the doctors and they thought I had autoimmune disease because of
Mm,
the symptoms that I was getting. But they
mm.
kept running tests and they're like, no, your white blood cell numbers is normal and this is okay. And when I tell you, man, shout out to Obama because letting us stay in our parents' insurance till I was 26. My
Got
parents
me
would
through
send me a
college.
bill and I was sending it right back to them. Like it's really this in your name. So that this so like this is
Got
like
me
your
through
problem.
college, baby. Show did.
Look, I stayed on all the way until my mom had it in her divorce decree that as long as I can be on his insurance, I had to stay. And my daddy bougie, so he had the top notch.
Okay, my daddy is well, he worked for the post office, but his insurance is excellent too, and he was very upset about it. Smartest thing my mom ever could do was take him to court and be like, they said I had to stay on his insurance. So as long
Look,
as I was in school and I
look, me, it's
got
the
the
way
master,
I use that.
even had it an extra year after I graduated.
Girl, I stayed on to 26 exactly.
Sure did. Me too.
And they
Sure
told me I
did.
had to get off. I wanted to be like, I don't even know if that birth certificate real. I feel like I'm 24 for real, for real. If we being honest about the situation.
This is how petty it was. So be careful who you have a baby by. That's all I can say. But my daddy didn't even want to give me the insurance card, girl. I was going to the doctors with the old insurance card that was like 3 years old. And they'd be like, as they pull it up, see his name, and that was that. So
Look, doing what you got to do. I bring that up though to say though, like that year, my parents, like, cause you know, when you're away at college, you don't really be telling your parents what you doing and stuff. They was
correct.
getting those bills and they was like, why are you getting blood panels drawn every 4 to 5 weeks?
That's why I go to the gynecologist.
Girl, oh my gosh, let me tell you about having insurance through your daddy because I have my insurance
Why
through
you in my
my
business?
dad. So going back to the topic at hand, um,
We go for it.
so that's, spiritual perspective. There can be astrological tie-ins. And then again, as we've kind of talked about throughout the entire episode, there can be a psychological perspective of just having seasons of acceleration after periods of stillness. And that feeling of love bombing can come from the fact that you got so used to stillness that now anything that's not that feels a little bit suspicious.
Mhm.
Now, here it is. And while getting that quote unquote love bombing again, as we explained, we don't mean love bombing in the official term, but saying that it can feel like you're love bombing. It just feels like everything is happening so
Yeah, it's
fast
life bombing.
all at once.
Yeah.
And while it can be a good thing, we have to also talk about the risks. One is just as we've hinted about burnout from overcommitment. I think this is the
Mhm.
biggest one that I see all the time because you've been waiting for this thing to happen for so long. And this is what you always wanted. And it seems like the more you do, the better you get, the more accolades you get. It can seem like the more money you make, it can seem more like, ah, dang, I'm becoming everything I ever dreamed of. And so you want to keep saying yes. But like at some point, you have to recognize when you still matter as a person and not just your goals, not just all the things you could say you did and that you accomplished, because we are not we're not robots. We're humans. Our bodies have its limitations. Our mind have its limitations. And sometimes our over committing to things kind of just separates us from the thing that even gave us that feeling in the first place of like, I want this. This is great. This is giving me joy. Now it's just become well, I have to say yes because I grinded so hard. And now there's no joy in it.
Mm. So this next one, saying yes to things that don't align just because they arrive together.
Hmm.
To things that don't align just because they arrive together.
Hmm.
Mm. That's interesting because just a good example. I actually give a good example. So when I was working for the low cost carrier, I was really hustling trying to find a second job. And I ended up getting an opportunity where I ended up getting an opportunity at the same time. I ended up getting my CJO for one of the big threes, and I ended up getting a community analyst job for a major grocery store that's really big in Texas.
Hmm.
And I was like, cool. Like my comfortable zone was staying at the airline I'm at, working HEB.
Hmm.
Perfect. I never forget, I was sitting standing by with my manager. My manager came in the break room. We having a whole conversation. And he's just asking me, so what do you want to do? And I was actually really working on trying to be a content creator. That's when I was really trying
Hmm.
to post my videos and stuff like that. And I was like, well, I think I'm just gonna stay on with the airline and I think I'm just gonna work at the grocery store, comfortable. Not
Hmm.
really making a lot of money because low cost carriers do not pay.
Yeah.
And the other job was only gonna pay start at like 17. Not enough money.
Hmm.
So, and I was like, just casually, just like, yeah, I got my CJO for such and such airline. He looked at me and he goes, you need to go. And I was just like, I just don't want to go through training again. Da 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 da. Like,
Hmm.
I just was not in the mood to push myself to do anything. And he was like, you can make so much more money, see the world, better benefits. Like, I'm telling you, you need to go.
Hmm.
I went back and thanked that man
Hmm.
because that was the best decision I could have ever made in my life because I make triple times what I would have made if I would have did both of those jobs.
Hmm.
And that's facts. And we got a new contract and more money. So I'm great. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I really would have missed out on the opportunity trying to stay in my comfort zone when instead of like pushing myself to do something more.
Yeah.
And so I would say you have to push yourself, but you also have to know when things don't align. Like you can't say yes to everything. I was saying yes because it was comfortable and because I was like, I just don't want to do another training. When the smartest decision was, okay, let's go ahead and do another training, give it a major airline, and you just have to work one job, not two, not three. So that's my example. I'm done.
Yeah. No, I agree. That whole not saying yes to things that don't align just because they arrive together. Because I think
Yeah.
sometimes we get caught up because we're like, well, this happened, so this has to be a thing. I think it's sometimes like in relationships that can look like, well, I was lonely and they came here and they love me and And now they said they want to marry me, they want to be with me or whatever. So I guess that's the thing. I wanted someone to love me. I wanted someone to be with me permanently. I wanted someone to claim me out. And it's like, you know, this person ain't your person. They're a good person. They're
That part.
nice. They're okay. Yes, they love the hell out of you. You don't love them. You're comfy. But we're saying yes because, I mean, hey, these things are happening together. It doesn't mean that those things are necessary. And you know, those things don't feel aligned. But it's like, well, it's here and it's happening, so I guess I should say yes. And that can also
Mhm.
look like kind of like Gabby gave the example with a job, but even sometimes that can look like finances. I know I was offered an opportunity to sign a particular contract. I'm not sure how much I'm allowed to go into this. This is why you gotta read your NDAs, guys. But
I'm done.
um to work with this one company who wanted to work with me on some private things. And I was like, oh, okay, you know, this might be able to lead to some like really, really great artistic, creative opportunities for me. And so I originally said yes. And I worked with them for a little while. And it was like very unorganized. It was not at all what I was told. It it just was not at all what I was expecting. And
I
going
think I
into
know what
that,
you're talking about.
huh?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I remember.
Um, But yeah, it was not going into it, I knew it wasn't what I wanted to focus on, but I was like, "Oh, but this is kinda aligned with what I want, and if I do this, then I can make a parallel move over here, and I can blah, blah, blah." Like, I was trying to finagle some shit. I was like, "But you know what? It kinda gets me in the door. It's not the door I wanted to go through, it's not the door for what I need to do, for what I wanna do, for what I wanna focus on, but it's a door." And then, you know, and I can network and da 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 da. And so I said yes the first time and I did not like it. And then the second time around, they were like, okay, hey, you know, we need you to come through and say yes, this thing, oh, it's gonna be better. And then also they start, you know, hey, we'll pay for your cost of this and that, and we'll cover this and that for you. And so they're adding in more perks and they're like, oh, and guess what? We are working with this celebrity and that celebrity. We're gonna have your name in here with these people. And I really had to sit back and go, not only did the experience I had with them previously, I was like, this is not even aligning with what I really want to do. Like,
Mhm.
technically, it's getting my foot in the door, but like, I want to get my foot in the door for this particular thing over here, for this thing A. And y'all talking to me about thing J. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, if I skip here, I can make it back to B. And then if at least I'm close to B, then maybe I can eventually go to, you know, trying to finagle some shit. And when I tell you, I am so happy that I said no to that thing, I turned away because ever since I said no to that thing and started focusing on the thing I really, really want, that has been 10 times more successful. That has grown like,
Sidebar, I still think you're still amazing at that because, I watch a lot of people who do the interviews and the production team.
mhm.
I just think of you because it's just, I feel like this could have been you.
I appreciate
I
that.
do. Like, there's a specific series, we'll talk about it when we get off this. There's a
Mhm.
specific series on HBO that makes me really think of you. And I'm like, Rest could have really did this. And it could have, it da 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 da.
Yeah.
It could have been you. It could have been
I
you.
appreciate that. I appreciate it. But that was something that like I fell into. That was something I really fell into. That wasn't
But
something
you're
I was
so
like,
good at it. Like,
girl, it's the same though. It's the same thing with when I keep being taught how good I am at it. I'm just like, yeah, I don't like it. I don't want to do it no more. Like I'm actively
no,
trying by December.
we
I
so
don't
you
care that
so
I'm good at it. I hate the shit. I hate it. And I think even going back to like, don't just say yes because the opportunities are there, you know, it
yeah.
doesn't lie. Because I think that's another thing as well. Like, there's another area in my life, you know, which area I'm talking about, where like I'm always being rewarded for that particular area. And I'm always being told, like, oh my gosh, you're so great. You got to keep up with this. Oh my gosh, you got to expand this. You got to da da da. And I don't want to. I don't want to. And I took a little detour where I expounded on that thing because it was something
Mhm.
I always, you know, kind of work with once I was able to, in small capacities. And because I
Right.
kept being told, like, oh my gosh, you're so good at this, you're so good, you're so good, that I switched gears and made that more of a priority, knowing that that's not what I wanted to do. But because I was told, like, but you're so talented here. This is, oh my gosh, you glow. And I hate this shit. I fucking hate the shit. I hate it so fucking much now. And just goes back into like just because opportunity is there does not mean when you know it doesn't align, the misalignment is going to become so strong It's so
Uh-huh.
when ignore that it
I-
gets uncomfortable.
Yep. Yep.
Well, and another one though, I think is important to mention is like missing red flags and opportunities, whether that be jobs, partners, collaborations, because you're so distracted by the pace of things can be another one. I'd say about the situation. I'm again. Oh,
I'm
God.
thinking two situations for you, especially when it's losing the ground of excitement. Because one thing that I don't think they know,
That's
remember the
okay.
one thing for you,
Okay, what's the one thing for me?
I can't say it, but there was one particular job that you had that
Yeah,
tested your limits so bad.
girl, girl.
And I think that it goes for both of them.
Yeah, I mean, mine was
Yeah.
gonna be a job, but it was a different job than the one you're talking about. When I tell y'all,
Oh,
me and Gabby have had such different social work experiences.
very much
My
so.
social work experience have been very much Darwinism, where they're just like, all right, we gonna throw you in your water, and if you don't figure out how to swim, you're gonna drown. So good luck with that. That has been my social work career. Just being like, yeah, we're gonna give you training, yeah, we're gonna help you out, yeah, we're gonna, and I'm just like, bitch, I hope you can swim. And me just luckily figuring out how to float. At the very least, figuring out how to float. Gabby, on the other hand, has been someone putting a life jacket on her, kissing her forehead, and be like, "You okay, baby? You okay? Okay.
I'm barely dipping the toe in.
Look, look, just taking care of her." Uh,
Yes, very
so
much
unfortunately,
so.
I have had more than one situation like that. But yes, I know which one you're talking about. Yes, I definitely had a situation where they just kept advancing me so quickly that I didn't have time to really recognize of like, this is just all for LinkedIn. Like, y'all not really, where's the money behind it? Like, you're adding all this extra duties to me, and then you're taking the fucking credit for it. Like, you're not telling them when things go well, like, oh yeah, that was rest. Rest stayed up all night because I told them last minute at 10:15 p.m. that I need this for our 8 o'clock meeting. Rest of that. It was, oh my gosh, I was getting so distracted though, because in my head, even once I was like, okay, some weird stuff going on. I had already created an exit plan, but I was like, but then I can get this, and I can
You
get
get
that.
to
Yeah. And oh my God. So I was so focused on like, okay, how can I spend this? How can I use this for my advantage at some point? Because there were certain things I was like, ooh, but if I could get this done here, that will make it easier for me in the future, blah, blah, blah. It got to the point though where I had to stop and look back at everything. And I was like, oh, y'all motherfuckers. Y'all think y'all oh, you think you're slick. You think you're slick. I know
one
it's
thing you're gonna do is you're gonna have an exit plan.
look.
You gonna set a date. On this day, this will be my last day. Like you are like
Let me tell you, I don't know if I gotta figure out which one of you guys are the better one to do this episode with, but I had a conversation this weekend when I was in Toronto, and the person had mentioned, because I had mentioned this to them. We were like discussing ourselves, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm really good for having exit plans. They're like, well, what do you mean? And so they
very
asked
much.
me about relationships. I'm great at leaving relationships. It's not. It's never been like, but daddy, I love him. That's never been my issue. But with that being said, like we are talking about that, and they're like, "Oh, that's interesting." But can I ask you something personal? And I was like, "Yeah, sure." They're like, "You have problems coming with a partner," and I was like, okay, so where we're going with this?" But so they were talking to me about how like there's a phenomenon of women who struggle with orgasming with a partner, but they can perfectly fine by themselves. Well, and that's this other thing, but it goes back to a fear of vulnerability. And a lot of time, people who are good at leaving folks and just be like, I don't have to deal with this, are people who struggle with being vulnerable. And if you struggle with being vulnerable, sex and the ability to get to that level requires you to have a certain level of trust in your mate, a certain level of trust of allowing yourself to not be so heavy in your head and your body to experience it. That if you're a person who struggles with vulnerability,
Mm.
so I was like, oh, I gotta do this episode. And I was like, but I don't remember everybody's tea. So I gotta figure out who we the best person.
That's
What I
interesting.
don't want is somebody on there like, I ain't never had that problem. Popping off 2 times a night. What? Like, no,
No,
for that episode.
that's not me. No, no, I struggle with vulnerability. Nah, I'm just now at this big age, getting to the point where I feel like I might like it makes me so uncomfortable. I have to really trust you and really like have a bond built with you for me to feel like I can because it's a sense of me letting go and you having control over me that I just don't like.
Nope, that's exactly the conversation we had. We got super off track, but okay, going back to again, sometimes you can just be so distracted by the pace of things that
Mhm.
like you don't recognize that, oh crap, I am about to get burned out. I am overcommitting. I am doing too much, and this is going to lead to a crash and burn because it just seems like everything is happening all at once. That like you're so excited about that you're not really considering how this is affecting you, how this is altering, and if all of those things are actually good for you.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. So losing ground and excitement.
This is
I've lost ground and excitement. Probably how I feel about social work. I'm gonna eventually come back, but just not right now.
mhm,
I lose ground and excitement with flight attending every day, but then I come back and when I get to work, I love it. But by the third flight, I'm over it.
mhm.
But that just comes with the job. So that's really all I got for you guys.
Yeah, okay. Well, and I think losing the ground and excitement can even go into kind of that last part that I ended on, which is like sometimes it feels so exciting of like again you're or I'll talk about that other opportunity I got like when I had got a contract that I thought was going to open certain doors for me. I was so excited in the possibility that even when like shit was not going that way, I was like but I just got to get it longer, and I gotta, work with them to do this thing because
Mhm.
I think they're, and because they're, they have the possibility, da, 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 da. You get so excited. You get so wrapped up in the excitement part that you don't recognize when it's time for yourself to pull back. You don't recognize when, hey, is this actually what I wanted? Or, maybe I'm not, or can I handle having all of this right now? Do I need to do this in sections? Because we're so excited, we don't use the logic. And you still gotta bring logic in, even with our dreams.
No, I feel that. I definitely sympathize with that, especially when it comes to flight attending, because I feel like you go to 6 weeks training, it's beautiful,
Mhm,
you have fun, then they throw you out there and you're dealing with the public, and you're
mhm.
like, flight attending is super ghetto. Just like I know it's ghetto. I go to the trenches every day in the sky, and I'm with over 300 people in a metal tube. Ah, sounds great, but I love
Look,
it though. That's the thing. Like
I
it's one of
know.
it's
You've been happier here than I've seen you at any of your other jobs.
I may complain, I may yell about delays, I may yell about all types of stuff, but I wouldn't change my job for the world. I love my
As I said, your old company, I flow with them today, and I have a one-sided beef. And I can't even say one-sided beef because they act like they have beef with beef. So apparently we have beef with each other.
I don't know, I'm come to the new company.
Oh gosh.
We don't even have a base there. Y'all have that
Delta.
that one company.
Oh,
Yeah, Delta. Yeah, you're good. You're good. So it's not Delta.
Um, so let's talk about like how we can navigate this. Like the first thing you can do is do a regular audit for yourself. Like write down everything that's on your plate and circle the ones that more align with your long-term goals and decide, can I put these other ones to the side for right now? Can I take my time on these ones? I think doing an audit is so important. Kind of like me and Gabby both talked about here. Both of us are people who tend to can get wrapped up when we are really passionate about something. We can get really, really wrapped up in those things. And I know for me, like that has been something that has been really, really helpful for me. Like again, August, that's just August. The first 2 weeks of August are just gonna be hella busy for me. Extremely busy for me. Well, literally, we recording. I just touched down and got home like 2 hours ago. I'm so very fucking tired. Yeah. So with that being said, I am somebody who gets when I'm really passionate about something, I get really, really wrapped up in it. And so like I have to like do audits every once in a while where I'm just like, okay, you're feeling exhausted. What's everything that you're doing? Well, you are working your main job where you're seeing clients in person. You still have some clients that have specialty insurances, so they can only see you on one particular platform. You're still doing EAP for folks. So that means you're constantly doing testing for folks. Okay. On top of that, you told baby girl she can go in theater class. So now you're driving 45 minutes on theater class. Okay. On top of that. And I just have to list everything. I'm like, okay, so what of these things can I pause on? And it's not to say I have to stop doing it forever, but it's like, oh, I'm starting to feel in my body. I'm starting to get sick all over again. I'm starting to feel overwhelmed. Look at what's on your plate and ask yourself, which of these things can I take off? Which
You
other
ain't never
things
lying.
you don't gotta throw it away. You can put on a smaller plate for the meantime, but you have to be able to determine if my plate is too full and what can I take off. That's what we're meaning when we say do that audit.
Yeah, you gotta audit yourself. My schedule this month is crazy. It's my first line month. I just got off a 3-day trip yesterday. This is my only day off, and I fly back out tomorrow for another 3-day. I'm tired.
Mhm.
So I'm definitely looked at my schedule and be like, which trip I can give away? Because I thought I was gonna work 100 hours this month. I ain't.
Mhm.
I'm not. Nope. I'm about to drop it right back on down to my 90 because I'm tired.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say. I'm sleepy.
No, word. Word.
I thought this would be easy, but after yesterday's delays and taxis and all that stuff, I didn't even get home till midnight. No, I'm sleepy. So
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be home at 6 o'clock.
Well, and you know what? And here's the thing, there's gonna be moments where you just have to do what you have to do. No one
That
is saying
part.
excuse that part. There are some seasons where it's like, no, I am just in hustle mode, and that's just what it is.
That's what it
And it
is.
sucks, but that's what it is. Like I said, the end of July until like next Friday is like crazy for me, crazy for me. But like, I have people that I love that need me to show up and show support. I
That's
have,
it.
so there's certain things that are worth the risk. There are certain things that I was like, okay, I can be exhausted for this period
That's
because
very
this will
true.
really matter to them and they really matter to me, type of thing. So you'll have those moments, but you know, your whole life shouldn't feel like that moment.
They should not prioritize. Ask. Ask if life stayed this busy, what would I still want in 6 months?
Mm,
Because I don't think we think past the right now sometimes. And sometimes we have to look past the right now to kind of plan for where we're going.
mhm,
Best example I could use is like I said, I'm furnishing my apartment. So I know I'm working super hard to get,
mhm,
I like to manage my bills. These young people say I should do it on my phone electronically, but I still write my bills down because it's what you do when you're over 30. So I write my bills down on pen and paper. And I know what I need to make in order for me to reach my goals. And so for me, if I work hard now, I can buy my things, furnish my stuff, and I'll be okay. And I can settle down later.
mhm.
That's just my mindset of it. But I also look at my future. Maybe we'll have a little surprise about that and what that looks like. But you know what I say when I
Mhm.
say my future, because I
Yeah.
have something else planned too. So
Mhm.
I work very hard now because I know later on down the road it's gonna pay off because you guys will find out soon enough. But yeah, that's that.
Yeah. No, I like how you explain that. I think, like, even with myself, when I'm thinking about, okay, prioritizing, like, what do I want life to look like in 6 months? For me, it's looking at, like, okay, yes, I have all these things going on, but what things are actually going to lead to what I want to be the end result? So, if what I want the end to be the end result is I need to be making this much, and I want to spend more time with my child,
Mhm.
and I want to still be able to travel. Okay, then now the things that allow me to accomplish that, that leads to me accomplishing those things, I'm not going to take off my plate. But
Right.
this other BS, okay, like, okay, you can make the money you want to make with just one job. Why do you have these other two? Well, because what if a rainy day? Because what if, okay, girl, you're always able to pick up another job.
Yep.
If you need to, you can do it then. But like,
Mhm.
if you want to spend more time with your child, you want to have the money that you want to have, you want to travel, you can't work all the freaking time. So for me, it was okay. Well, let me pull back on that.
Well, that's one thing I can say I love about you too is you baby best friend. I'm not gonna say you guys are similar to me and my mom, but me and my mom, one thing I love is you guys have open communication and she expresses herself and you hear her. And one thing she you said she wants to spend more time with you, and you heard that, and you
Yeah,
did something about that. I just love that because the one thing I love about you is you have created a world for her where she will always feel like she's heard, and I think that's important at her pivotal age.
I appreciate that.
Sidebar, just kudos to you, girl. Because we talk a lot, but I definitely wouldn't. I was like, dang, she really did. Homegirl really did change everything. Like, I'm gonna spend more time with my baby. I heard you. Yeah. Because baby best friend like to be outside. Y'all don't even know.
look,
Okay.
look. And I've said this multiple times before, but like, I promise you, the most one of the most triggering things in my life is being a parent because I just have so many moments where I'm just like,
Yeah.
"Oh, so they didn't
Uh-huh.
have to do that." They
Yeah.
they chose to actively do that. There's certain things that like, "Oh, no, y'all were right. This is hard, and I did not give y'all their break." And there's other things that I just be like, or I can be like, "My child has a personality, and I'm not trying to mold her into someone else. Let her have one." Like, it's very easy to do. Very easy to do. So you're trying. But yes, thank
Mhm.
you. Thank you.
I don't have children yet, maybe one day, but I hope I'm half the mother you are because I think about you like when you say, when she first came, one thing you said, this is way back. I remember, girl, this feels like I've been there, but one thing you said is, I don't understand. Like, if she doesn't want to, she doesn't have to. Like, if she doesn't want to speak to you, she doesn't, she's not going to have to speak. She's not going to make her.
When I tell you the older people in my life hate that I feel that way,
But you know what? I can sympathize with it because my mama didn't make me speak either. I didn't have to if I didn't want to. And my family got used to it. They'd be like, well, Gabby's not in the mood right now. We'll get with her later. They didn't force me to do that. Where on my other side, they forced me. You walk in a
yeah,
room, you say hello, like, you make
yeah,
your presence known. I wasn't used to that. So it's just
yeah.
interesting because I love that. I just think I just never heard somebody say that. Like, I remember little things that we've talked about, and
I
that was
agree.
like,
No, you're right, because that was a whole thing. That was a
mhm.
whole thing. Oh my gosh, her getting oh
I
gosh,
remember.
getting to know her grandparents, that was a whole thing. I will say that, like, there I still make sure there's basic, respect respect
Right, right,
there.
right, right.
You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah, I
Yeah.
know you're not
In a
like
room,
that.
say hi. A person says hi to you, say hi back. But yeah, I'm big on like, if she don't want to kiss you, she don't have to kiss you. And trust me, it hurts my feelings. I've been wanting to kiss up on her all day, and she almost never wants to let me have a kiss.
And
And
it
like,
was
'cause
kids,
y'all know I'm used to like just scooping her up in my arms and just kissing all over her. And now she's 8, and she just be like, chill, mommy.
you know what me and her do is a high five. Good girl.
I know. I
That's
know.
that.
I know.
Like, I have never hugged her. I have never high five, girl. That's about as good as it
Good.
gets. Cause I don't want to ever make her feel like she has to. You want to hug me,
Yeah.
you can hug me. She'll come sit beside me. She'll talk to me. All that. But
Yeah.
mm-mm,
And yeah, we
mm-mm.
still do basic respect, but yeah, no, she don't feel like having a long conversation with you. I told her like it's okay to tell people, hey, I don't feel like talking, and then just go away. But when I
And
tell
she's very
you
respectful. That's
all
the
the
thing. She's not
yeah,
rude. She's
she's
not rude.
not at
She's a good
all.
kid. Very good kid.
I feel like
She's gonna tell you how she feels.
she is. I feel like though, like sometimes people who haven't met my daughter and like they
Mhm.
just know her from what I tell them about her, when they meet her, they're so surprised because they're like, she is so sweet and
Mhm.
she's
She's
so
sweet.
respectable. I'm like, yeah, she is. When I say that she has an opinion, it's not her being like this wild child. It's just like she is someone that's gonna be like, hey, again, I talked about this earlier. We had a family reunion last year and I had a particular older relative that was yelling at some of the kids. And my daughter, in the middle of her yelling, raised her hand and said, hey, I don't like being yelled at. Can you talk to me in a different can you talk softly? It created a whole thing. It created a whole thing. And so it's like, to me, that's not rude. She should be able to say, hey, I don't like that you're yelling at me. You can say what you need to say to me calmly, and I will respect that.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's
Ugh,
anything there.
that's okay. I digress. But
I digress.
that's
Me and her
my
probably has very different opinions on that.
that's my baby. I'm always gonna have baby best friend back.
But I will say also, I think one of the things that helps is actually wanting to be a parent. I think if you go into parenthood, one of the things I will always say till I'm black and blue in the face, do not try to force no man or no woman who don't want to be a parent to be a parent.
Mhm.
Okay. If the child's here already and they don't want to, do what you need to do
Yep.
without trying to force them because the child will always pick up on it. And so sometimes when I talk to people and they're like, oh my gosh, and you always take her to like museums and the parks and y'all be going out and it's like because I actually love being a mom.
Yeah. And
And
that's and
so
that's
if you don't
I
want to be a mom, don't think you're gonna magically just morph into this,
person. It's
yeah,
growth. It's trial and error. Nobody's
yeah, yeah, you're gonna have moments where you're gonna be like, what's that meme? Just the Michael Jordan throw of the baby. Like, you're definitely gonna have those moments, but definitely, I think
I,
that also is a big part of it. Because sometimes I talk to folks and I'm like, "Oh, you just don't like being a parent." So, like, hey, they're here now, but, like, let's not have any more 'cause I
mhm.
don't think you like doing this.
I said all this to say, it it just watching you raise her has made me think about what type of parent I want to be. So when I
Mhm.
do have kids, eventually I want to stay home with my kids. Like I don't want to have to work or be away and stuff like that. Like I truly do want to be home with my children because everybody doesn't get that opportunity to just watch them
Yeah,
be able to grow. So for me, I want to be able to create a space where I'm home and I'm like 100% just dedicated to my children.
mhm.
I need an expensive husband, I know.
Girl, look.
Okay. All right, for real. Let's
Um,
let's let's do this.
okay, and so then, like, finally, let's wrap it up with I think another one that can kind of help out is like having anchor rituals, like grounding practices. That can be journaling, that can be daily walks, that can be short meditations to kind of create stability amid the chaos for yourself. And this is why we've said this over a lot of different episodes of like, it's so important to know yourself because if I know me, then I know when something feels off. It doesn't
Yes.
take me being off for 5, 6, 8 months, a
Hmm.
year. It doesn't take me being off so off that I am now completely off the path I was supposed to be down. Because when
Right.
I know myself, think about it of like when I know myself, then I know automatically if something's wrong. And the thing that comes to mind, I don't know if you've seen this video, but there's a video, it circulates and gets popular like once a year at very least since this came out,
Hmm.
where it's Steph Curry dribbling a basketball and he's like, I guess waiting for the I don't know. I don't know sports. But he's dribbling the basketball and he's just like on the court dribbling and he bounced the ball and the ball did not come back to his hand. It like he bounced it and it like rolled away and he was like, "What?" And he came back and like made them bring 2 balls and he bounced them in the same place because he was like, I know myself. I know my skills. That doesn't happen. And what they found out is there was a dent in the floor right there that wasn't as noticeable. And that's why it caused the ball to bounce. It wasn't his skill. But like you have to know yourself well enough to be like, nah, because there's something messed up like that. That's not me. So now let's check this floor. Let's check what's going on. I love that. I think it's such a beautiful metaphor of like, okay, because when I know me, when something little happens, I know right away. I'm not ignoring that because I know how I am. I know my skills. I know my abilities. So when something is off, I can pick up on
Yep.
that instantly.
I think for grounding practices, I'm a big journaler. I journal a lot. That's one thing I've learned in therapy. I've journeyed through my weight loss. I journal pretty much every night before I go to bed because it allows me to get my thoughts straight. I'm a thinker. I've turned into a major thinker, and for me to straighten out my thoughts and not
Mhm,
overthink, it's best if I journal. And
mhm,
so I've made it fun for myself. Like I can get different colors and do all
mhm.
that stuff. Like I truly
Yeah,
write down my thoughts, my feelings, my heartbreaks, if I'm sad, if I'm happy. I write down my day, like the
yeah.
whole day. Today, like, not no, dear diary, it'd be like, bitch, let me tell you what did happen today. Girl,
Love.
these motherfuckers that stretched me out on this plane. Like, I be
Yeah.
telling that journal everything. And I'm like, all right, good night. Tomorrow.
Can I can I just point that out though? Like it's so important. Make these practices your own. Don't feel like you have to
Yes.
do the
Yes.
as told by gender format. March 16th. Hello, diary. Today,
Girl, no.
let it be however you want it to be.
Baby, that journal be getting the tea. Like, girl, let me tell you, I went to Miami and I had a blast. Like, da 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 da
Word.
da da, such did this. I seen this. Girl, let me tell you about Kat and me and my relationship. Girl, I talk about all types of stuff in my journal. It's really revealing. But I go back like the next day, I'll go back and read it and I giggle at myself because after that I didn't calm down or I'm not thinking about it. And just be like, I'm crazy.
Yeah.
Like it just be funny to me because I can see where I started. Like I started this practice probably at the beginning of the year, so I can see how I've grown.
Mhm.
Um, but it's made me more confident in myself, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. Like it's made me more like, and I'm also more aware that I am a trip and my mouth is bad, so I have to watch myself sometimes too, because I'll be like, I will talk about that in my journal tonight, and I'll make like a
Yeah.
mental note in my phone and be like, fucking Karen. Like I just it's just funny to me sometimes. So you have to find what works for you. Some people do daily walks and meditation. Meditation
Mhm.
does not have to be done in the home. It can be done outside the home. It can be done at a
Mm-mm.
bench. It can be done at a park. It
Meditating
can be
in
done.
nature is like my favorite thing. I
Yeah.
love going on a walk, finding a big
For,
rock,
for some
and
reason, people think meditation has to happen in the house. No, you can meditate just
um,
there staring at the sky, laying on the ground. You can meditate so many different ways. So don't let people sit there and tell you how to meditate, but you have to find what works for you. For me, it's journaling. That's my best thing. I have the old school notebook. I love
yeah.
it. Like, I love it. So,
And one of the things I recommend, like if you're like, none of those things sound like it'll work for me, just figure out what helps you replenish energy. And what I mean by that is like start doing different things and ask yourself, okay, what am I getting from it? So that might be,
mhm,
okay, maybe I know it's not walking, but when I walk, did you notice that, oh, the tension that I was having, the tension headache kind of went away. Okay, so maybe it's just you need to do something active. So maybe it's not walking, but then now I'll explore active things. Or maybe it's like, dang, I do want to journal, but I have trauma. And so I don't feel safe having my thoughts outside of myself. Okay,
right.
but you know that you do want to be able to express yourself in some way. So maybe let's look into art because art is another way to express yourself. Again, I'm someone who I wish I could journal. I cannot. I cannot journal. They made that thing feel unsafe for me. But for me, so my thing
Oh,
is
sorry, it's not fun.
creative. No, you I laugh at it. It's fine. But no, it's like, so for me, it is okay. So I just want a way to express myself. So sometimes for me, that's the podcast. Sometimes it's for me, it's art. Sometimes it's drawing. My daughter loves art. So sometimes we'll get together and we'll just draw together. Sometimes that can look like singing. Sometimes that can look like rapping or poetry. Like you just got to do the thing so you can figure out, okay, is it that I just need to express myself? Is it that I need to physically get something out? Is it that I need peace and quiet? Figure out the things that kind of make you feel like it's replenishing to you, and then that can kind of tell you what areas to try out.
Mhm.
So, guys, with that said, here is your little reminder that again, life love bombing you isn't like permanent. It is just a cycle. The goal
Mhm.
isn't to reject the abundance, but to manage it in a way that doesn't leave you feeling resentful.
Yep.
So we hope that you enjoyed today's episode. We'll have a new one for you Sunday. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at She Wolf Alchemy. Like, save, share the episode, and you guys will hear the sound of our voice next week.
Yep.
Bye.
Mwah.